Antonio, over to you
Uh,
for the product case study.
okay, thank you, Harry. Okay, I will present my case study. Basically, I will just outline very quickly the three steps that I went through. Unfortunately, I did not have time to complete the objective number four, but I started with a problem. I validated the problem. And then after that, I tried to validate the offer and I got some learnings and some challenges that I will share afterwards. And after that, I started to think about the strategic planning and the steps to actually achieve my opportunities and outcomes. So I will start with the problem statement. So my initial problem statement was this one. So it was about young professionals feeling overwhelmed choosing the right investments to secure financially their retirement. Um, I believe this is a problem. I was also a young professional. I felt this problem, and the initial opportunity that I immediately found was how can we make the investment decision making as simple and automated as possible. So that was my initial opportunity. So how I took this forward. So in order to validate this was a real problem, I started my discovery, and I had 5 different discovery calls. And I also did some validation with people through an acquisition channel. However, due to some time constraints, I have to use people that I know that I believe that were in my niche, like family and friends. So as a result, 5 out of 5 calls have been conducted, and I also contacted everyone through my family and friends, as I explained before. So what were the basically key learnings that I got from this exercise? I listed 4. The first one, I thought this was actually quite interesting, is that not everyone, but a lot of people to reduce complexity, they follow a different route, which is more around housing to secure their retirement rather than going through complexity and the hassle of investing in financial markets and so on. The second one was that when we talk about young professionals, I felt like I had to be more precise and basically not all the young professionals have this problem. So that was a key learning. So um, basically for young, really, really young professionals, this is simply not a priority, not a problem, but they are aware. And I also validated that this will be a problem roughly after they become 35 years old. The third one, the existing options are expensive, complex, and lack transparency in a lot of cases. And the final learning that I got is that a lot of people don't really have time nor desire to learn about financial investments. So basically, in terms of so from here, I listed 4 different opportunities that I try to basically design and come up with with the MVO really with how can we solve this problem, trying to merge these opportunities. So I came up with this initial MVO. We help young professionals to financially secure their retirement with an automated, comprehensive investment selection tailored to their goals. And in order to validate this MVO, I created a website to basically measure the conversion. Secondly, I also did some blue ocean strategy canvas analysis. And finally, I wrote my product story canvas and the product vision for alignment. So on the left-hand side, this was basically my MVO statement initially and the different attempts to come up with the one that I selected. And on the right-hand side here, this was basically the website and basically to explain my offering and my MVO to the people that I reached. On the right-hand side, basically I listed all the different value elements that I could think of around the competition, and basically everything that is in red, I said, yeah, that's definitely not something that we want to tackle. So I listed 4 different potential opportunities. One was around simplified decision, connectivity with other ecosystems, fees, cost, transparency, and easy to learn. So I felt like our product could actually represent an opportunity to solve these problems in a better way than the competition. So these opportunities basically become one single. I tried to bundle into one, which was around simplicity and transparency. So this was my validated product vision initially. But I felt from the numbers that I got, which were very low, that potentially my MVO was too complicated, not very clear, not super attractive. So if I had to reiterate again, I would probably simplify the MVO to basically rephrase it to most straightforward and fully transparent investment platform. So in terms of challenges, here, it was super hard for me to find the right people, and new people takes a considerable amount of time. In terms of learnings, a lot of people accepted my connection request, but they have not viewed the website, which was obviously a flag for me. In line with what I explained, I think the MVO was potentially not super sexy and useful, which is exactly the second point here. And in order to solve my challenge, I posted a message on my LinkedIn, but the majority of people that liked or people who accessed the website and signed up ended up being my friends or people that I know. So that was a massive learning that this is probably not the most accurate way to validate my product vision. But in any case, if I had to reiterate again, this is what I would have used, a little bit more simplified version of my MVO. So the next step that I took was to come up with a strategic roadmap and initial prototype, design my lean canvas to highlight on how my business model would work in practice, and finally the team topology, how the teams would look like to deliver the vision that I have in my head. So in terms of strategic roadmap, in terms of opportunity, which was invest with simplicity and full transparency, I defined 3 different steps to begin with. One was around compare and make it clear about the fees that someone would need to pay signing up for my platform. The second step, and obviously this was basically in my head a teaser to allow people to sign up for my platform. After that, after they sign up, I wanted to them to understand the specific steps that they will need to invest. So basically answer some fundamental questions to determine a profile needed in order for us at some point to give them the right investments for them. The final one was around investment. So making it super simple, giving them like reducing really, complexity, but allowing them to invest and start seeing the benefit of using the platform. So these were the 3 steps that I selected initially, and probably zooming in on the first one. So this is the reason why I selected this one, as I explained, I feel like we needed a bit of a teaser in our website and telling our users that we could be cheaper and more transparent. For me, it would make more sense. So this is just an example on how I could see the user would go to our platform, use this calculator, and it would give them a summary, very, very transparent about costs, profitability versus the competition for a given investment type. Sorry. After that, the user would sign up for our platform. Right. In terms of all these helped me to as well understand on how the business model could work in practice. So in terms of unique value proposition, I think that's the key thing. It was getting more and more clear that our unique value proposition versus the competition was making decisions unbelievable, simple, and transparent. I also, after all these interactions, understood that young professionals was quite vague. So I actually translated this to people with income who are willing to invest, being the early adopters, people roughly with 35 years old, obviously with income. In terms of existing alternatives, there are plenty of options in the market. But one of them that is super concerning is do not do anything about it. So it's actually something that I came up that a lot of people are not doing anything about it. In terms of key metrics, I selected two. Basically, the way I was thinking about it is about the percentage of users that will make at least one investment per month. So it will show really attraction to our platform. And for me, that's the key success element here. The second one was the percentage of users who will define annual goals, because defining annual goals will give us a feeling that the users will invest beforehand. So for me personally, is also a very important key metric. In terms of revenue streams here, I listed two, but then after my interactions, it was very clear that the potential revenue stream was a percentage of commission per investment. So we needed like people to invest a lot, and we would get a percentage commission per investment. And for the user, this would be a little bit transparent, not irrelevant, but probably simple as well. Finally, in terms of costs, we would need obviously to have hosting, development team. We'd need to spend some budget around advertisement, referral fees, and also a customer support. Finally, in terms of to make this all work, we need a team. So in terms of value streams, we would only have one value stream around investors to simplify. And here we would have 6 different teams. One responsible for the initial acquisition, another one who would be responsible to activate the users, and in line with our business model or revenue stream, which was based on the percentage of commission, we'd need to keep people investing. So it was very clear that we need like someone dedicated and implement growth strategies here. In terms of, obviously the final one is around finance. So basically deal with the customers and the third parties in terms of payments and receivables. The fee calculation was for me a really important one because, and it's a very complex topic. So this would work with the different teams. And at some point, because our vision is as well is to make it simple and potentially at some point automated, we'd need some AI and ML here as well. In terms of enablement, security test automation, content would be super important and it would be part of our simplification. And finally, data analytics. And obviously, we need some SMEs that would work with the team to tell them, to translate basically their thought process to this automated vision as well. Finally, in terms of platform, iOS, Android, and web application. So my vision would be to offer the platform in web and mobile and have a team responsible for third-party integrations and infrastructure as well. Unfortunately, I have not, as I mentioned, I have not had time to run my prototype. But if I have time in terms of key results, I would need to build potentially to start with a low fidelity prototype to start with. I would probably select a group of users, and the idea would be to have people. Basically, the way I forgot to write it here, but the way I would see it would be how many people would sign up for my website after playing with the prototype, and obviously feedback in terms of usability, how simple it is to use the tool, and so on and so on. So just to wrap up in terms of principles, and this is for me such a powerful slide, and I definitely learned a lot here, and there was, I already had an idea about the principles around product management, but the cohort helped me a lot to think differently. So the first one was, I think this is super fundamental. It's about balance the net benefit creation versus cost reduction. I think what I mean by that is that we tried always to think about creating benefit, but sometimes ignoring the cost reduction element. So I think it's really, really critical to have a balance here between both when we are doing our prioritization. The second one
I'm going to have to pause you there actually just to make sure we get everything covered for feedback. Sorry about that. Sorry, let's just read through these. Balance net creation. Yeah, accept a lot of ideas will fail, empower teams to succeed, outcomes over output, blame the game. It took me through the last one briefly before we wrap up.
The last one is a mix of using data versus opinions. It's more about saying no to stakeholders. One thing that I try to justify my no with data, and one sentence that I usually use with my stakeholders: look, guys, you need to blame the game, not myself for taking these decisions. And it would like break the ice in a way. So this is just a joke, but it's so true in a way. They need to understand exactly.
Yeah, if you bring the data and a story. Good. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Sorry, I want to make sure we get feedback covered.
I was
the most valuable part usually. Good. So I'm going to go through just quickly bullet points on the case study itself, and then we'll slow down and just talk about some next steps for you generally. So firstly, I thought the problem was clear. I love that simple things like underlining keywords, linking to the opportunity visually. These are really powerful. On the first set of objectives, you were clear actually throughout the case study. Clear, what was the objective, what were the key results, why those key results. One thing to enrich or to improve upon though, just a little bit of storytelling. So, you mentioned, well, I had to test with friends and family. So there's a really good opportunity to talk about maybe some of the biases and say, look, these are still in our target group, but there may be some biases there we need to, go and further validate, for example. So just adding that, you understand some of these things is going to help you come across as more credible. On your discovery, I think super powerful is sharing some key learnings here, particularly when there are surprises. It was a surprise to me that people were investing in houses, not in stocks, for example. And what does that do? It helps you actually sell the value of product discovery to your stakeholders. So look, hey, this is something we didn't know, and we would have actually based on this other assumption and gone in the wrong direction. that really helps you sell the concept.
Mhm.
A common theme, we'll talk about this later. You mentioned on the objective two things like blue ocean. You said, yeah, okay, then I did the blue ocean and the MBO. But you need to be really clear about like what are these things and why do we use them? In your
Mm.
organization, people are going to have no freaking idea what an MBO is or a blue ocean. So you need to be really clear, so here's the blue ocean. We use the blue ocean to map out where we saw some opportunity in the market and where actually we thought it was really busy. And because you didn't give that context, for example, when you talked through the blue ocean, it wouldn't have been clear to somebody. You said, hey, so these red ones were not worth addressing. I'm like, well, what are the red ones? What does that mean? So just say really simple, like,
Yeah.
we saw that lots of competitors are providing this value, that value, this value. And that's why, we want to pick our battles. So we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on these other things over here, the blue ones. Right. So really just 1-2 sentences, but we'll make it crystal clear. The other thing on your MBO, don't particularly when you're communicating intent, don't sound disappointed when something fails. Don't be ashamed of it in any way. It's very normal. It's a good thing to keep pivoting.
Mhm.
1 in 10 ideas is going to work. So, at that point you could say, so, we're not super confident with our MBO. It's something we want to keep experimenting. We keep pivoting until we find that, that perfect offer. But in the meantime, we're still looking at the foundations of, the business. And then you go to objective 3, which you did talk about, good overview you did of the roadmap, good overview of how the initial solution would tie in with the outcomes you defined. I thought that was very strong. I thought your team topology was clear. It was logical as well. And there it was clear what the value was of that framework, right? Because you paused to explain it. Lean Canvas was good. Again, you touched upon one thing I'm always looking out for is, do you talk about revenue models? Do you talk about unfair advantage? You did, right? Showing that business hat of saying, look, I understand stakeholders, that this isn't just about users, this is about business. Okay, so that's really, helps you really stand out as a product leader.
Mhm.
And then just zooming out, Antonio, just for the last 2 minutes. I think general feedback and observations from the 8 weeks. I mean, first thing is, you're someone that's great to have in the cohort, like always enthusiastic, clearly engaging with this, showing up to everything. That's great. Really strong foundation, fun to work with as well. And I think generally, if we look more concrete, it feels to me like you've got a good foundation now moving forward. Good understanding of customer insight, discovery, execution, leadership. However, and this is very normal, it's now just about mastering these concepts. So don't try and learn loads of new stuff for the next year. Just really go
Right.
back to what we've learned, get better and better. For example, the reason I say that, take product strategy. It felt, your strategy was a bit muddled until I came in and really helped you sort of tear it apart and zoom in on one thing. So when you do that alone, you're going to struggle with this the next few times. But if you keep coming back to the videos, keep using the frameworks, keep applying it, then
Mhm.
you're going to be in a really good place with these kind of things within a year or two. So it's really just now about stepping up, experimenting, trying these things out,
Mhm.
and just learning as you go. Right, that would be my main advice. Um, I think that's it, actually. I had a few other notes, but no, I want you to just focus on that mastery of the concepts we've gone over. So that's things like storytelling when it comes to leadership, things like product strategy, running workshops, like everything we've done. Just put it
Mhm.
into practice, really. And I think you'll be in a really good place. I think you'll be a very confident product manager then, within the next year, if you step up and try these things.
Yeah, I think it's all about the confidence. I think you touched on the right point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So now I have the tools, I have the basics on my side. It's fully agree with your statement.
Yeah, and also you've got a really good opportunity with a new job to come in and try all of this stuff out.
Yeah,
Right. So you just have to go for it. Even when you're feeling a little unconfident, go for it. Try these things. I was feeling worried about something. Map it out yourself. Like, hey, why don't you do the product strategy deciding by yourself, and then gives you a bit more confidence going and applying this with your team, for example. Would be my
yeah.
advice.
Okay.
Awesome. We're gonna have to wrap up there because we've got the graduation call in 1 minute.
Unfortunately, we do. I
But that
really
was it. As I
enjoyed
said,
this.
there's
Thank you
a
so
few
much.
things that. No, awesome. As I said, a pleasure to have you on the cohort. And yeah, it's always great to see someone just keep trying, pushing. So, great to have you. And as I said, now it's just putting stuff into practice. Really, it's as simple as that. Awesome.
Yes,
Well, I'll see you in 1
absolutely.
minute on the next
Yes,
Zoom link.
I'll see you in a bit.
Cheers, Antonio.
Cheers, Harry. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
You know,
Bye bye.
thank you.